Welcome back, everybody. This is episode 12 of Just a Couple Thoughts.
Big one, too.
Big one, too. Sorry about the week absence. I'm also, might as well get this out of the way. I'm going to reschedule the podcast to upload on Sundays from now on. It just happens to be more convenient. We've been late recently anyways, but just as a heads up for people who actually listen to this. It's going to be on Sundays, probably around 5. This one might be a little bit late, who knows? But yeah, that's going to be the new schedule. So, this is where I would do recap, but we have no new recap today.
That's okay. No worries.
Okay. I mean, I don't mind that we don't have recap. It just means this will be a slightly short episode. I don't know. I like reading the comments, so anybody who wants to have a comment or send an email, go ahead. But to get started...
Oh, wait. We have news. We're on iTunes now.
Yes, we are on iTunes.
We're on iTunes. We're almost we're pretty legit now.
Yeah, so we have a Podbean, we have an iTunes. So now there is almost no excuse to not listen to us.
Almost. We're not on Spotify.
We're not on Spotify, and I don't believe we're on other podcast services yet. I believe. I have to double check that. So that's new news. We're on iTunes, so a majority of podcast users can now listen to us. So, where have we been? We just came back from a con. Yeah, we came back from Fanime, which is a fairly big con in the Bay Area, down in San Jose. It's one of the bigger cons around here. I think the only bigger cons are Comic-Con and then Anime Expo down in SoCal. Can you think of any other bigger cons?
I mean, there's Crunchyroll Expo now.
Oh, yeah, there's Crunchyroll Expo now. It's not as big as Fanime. Not at all.
No.
But it's about the size of SAC Anime, really. Which is another semi big con. It's more small than anything. It's still pretty small. But yeah, we just came back from a con, and that's the topic you want to use today, Sarah?
I mean, yeah, that's one of the things we can talk about today. Is conventions.
So, I personally really enjoy conventions. It's like a mini vacation for me. Like, if I were to use my vacation time for anything, it would be for vacations, for conventions, or traveling abroad. Conventions are like my mainstay thing because it's the same time every year. It's very nice to do. It's more centralized towards my hobby, mostly anime, sometimes movies, sometimes games. Oh, what do you think about conventions in general?
I really like that there's like a sense of community whenever you go to cons. You know, I mean, not every convention, right? Because some of them, for a lot of people think of like conventions as in like work, but these are like fun conventions. They're like to have a good time and to hang out with like your friends and meet new people. And the cool thing about like conventions is that like everyone is there kind of for the same thing. So it's just really nice to have like that sense of like community, and everyone is really nice at a con.
Most of the time,
everyone is really nice.
There are those outliers, but in general, most people are very nice at cons.
Most people are really nice, and one thing that I've realized about conventions, maybe just SAC Anime, but Fanime too, is if you lose something, you just go to Lost and Found, and most of the time it'll be there.
Like a good 80% chance that someone will be a good Samaritan and actually give it back.
Yeah, a lot of people will do that. They'll just give stuff because they're like, oh, I don't really need this, so they'll just return it.
Yeah. So, yeah, conventions are very, very nice, very good people. There are those outlier people who are just assholes, or there are those people who are for lack of a better term, degenerates.
So I think we should, before we go into more convention stuff, I feel like we should talk about like our experience, like our history with conventions.
Sure. We don't have a large history. So.
No, but just like, our personal experience and like where we started from. Like we don't, to be clear, like Kevin and I haven't gone to like really big ones like Comic-Con
and Anime Expo.
And Anime Expo, which... Yeah,
but the more I hear about it, the more I'm like, I don't want to go.
Yeah, most people say those are the cons to be at. But for us, it's been SAC Anime, which is a local convention up in Sacramento. And then the other one is Fanime. And we've also been to Crunchyroll Expo.
The first year.
Yeah, in its first year we went.
And we also go to other conventions that are like convenient to go to. Like the one time we went to Japan Expo, the one time where you're selling at that small college
Kinyobi-con.
But yeah, we go to conventions when we can, right? When it's convenient and affordable.
Yeah, so our experience is only for Bay Area conventions. So any convention outside of the Bay Area, we're not really,
Yeah, like
we don't really know
Gen
anything about.
Con, stuff like that.
Yeah,
New York Comic Con.
yeah.
We don't know those conventions that well. I would like to go maybe one year.
Yeah, so we can only speak, our experience only comes from those conventions. So anyway, you should probably start off. Let's start off with you.
About my experience with conventions. So my experience is mostly come from fanime and SAC anime. I think it's mostly the same for you, Sarah.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, because we pretty much go to the same cons. If she's going to con, I'm going to con. If I'm going to con, you go to con. It's kind of a interesting experience because fanime is very much just a fun con. It's just like, I'm here to have fun. But SAC anime for us is more like work.
Yeah, that's what it's kind of ended up being.
Yeah, because SAC anime, for those who don't know, they have lots of great guests at SAC anime. That's like the main appeal of the guest. Almost every year they have the voice of Mario, Charles Martinet. They'll get like big A-list voice actors like Crispin Freeman, Troy Baker sometimes.
Wendy Lee was there.
Lee. Like you get some significant voice actors coming there.
Yeah, like the Overwatch cast.
Yeah, multiple times as the entirety of Overwatch cast. The voices of all the characters from Futurama came by one year. I think this year is all the voices for Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool going to SAC anime. And the main reason why we call it work is because all we do is get things signed. We go do autographs, and that's it.
And it's actually probably the most affordable convention.
For what you get is very affordable.
Yeah. Because if you go there and you pre-reg, it only costs $25, which is a steal, honestly.
For what you get.
Yeah.
To put in perspective, Fanime, which is the other convention to go to, it's bigger. Like, I would say more than twice as big as like anime, but has less guests. The only thing more appealing to it is that it has more stuff there.
It's got a concert.
It got a concert and it has panels.
And the concert is included in your package, so...
Yeah, but it costs $65 at the cheapest. And it goes up in price the longer you wait to register. So it's a very fun con, Fanime. It's probably one of my more favorite cons because it's literally just me chilling and hanging out. And we get hotels and we have lots of fun time. And it's a 24-hour con. So there's always stuff happening. But SAC anime, I really enjoy SAC anime. I appreciate SAC anime because I meet the voice actors.
And the panels are run pretty well too. And that's the same for like Crunchyroll Expo. Because it's an industry focused.
Crunchyroll Expo is like the industry focused con.
Yeah. Which I kind of really wanted to go again this year. But I just couldn't justify the price. But I've been thinking about it.
That's the main dilemma to going to a lot of conventions is just find the price.
Yeah.
So like Fanime is $65. But we also get hotels.
And the con's also 24 hours.
And the con's also 24 hours. But yeah, so we get hotels, we buy the badges, and then we also do shopping there because anime conventions, they have lots of merch. They have a dealer's hall where you can buy lots of things. And most of the time you would want to buy them because it's kind of hard to get them anywhere else. Like, yeah, you can get them online, but you don't physically see them.
Yeah, so dealer's hall is all like industry kind of like, not really industry, but they're like official most of the time.
Yeah.
Except if it's like stolen art. Most of the time it's official stuff.
Yeah.
So you'll see like booths in there from like local hobby shops, or you'll see sometimes local comic shops, like the comic shop in our hometown in San Leandro. We'll go to the cons too.
But and then there's the artist alley. We can see lots of fan art and stuff like that. And they buy like very high quality prints, like in posters and stuff like that. And you can see some more unique stuff there.
Yeah, Artist Alley has really stepped up their game over the past few years. Like
I remember the first times we were going to cons, it was just literally just prints and cheap buns.
It was like, well, people would print out like they would like get printer paper and then they would laminate it.
Yeah.
And then they would punch a hole in it and then like tie a string in it. And then that was their keychains. But now they have like rubber straps and they have like enamel pins and like there's not a lot of people who have just regular buttons anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of people just do enamel because they know that they have like competition, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's really improved over the years that we've went, and we haven't gone to cons that long. We went since high school, so 7 years now. No, more than that.
More than that.
8 years, about. We've been going to cons for about 8 years now, and like over those past 8 years, it's really transitioned to something like that feels more official. Like the first year we went to Fanime, like it was very cool. That first year we went to Fanime, but it doesn't feel as like well run as it is now. So
even still though.
Yeah, even still, like there are lots of issues with cons. Yeah. So fan made cons like Saka Anime and Fanime are run by like basically a small group of people who raise money and then they get the money off registration and then they actually run these cons by themselves, right? And they'll have like sponsors and stuff like that, like Crunchyroll, whatever, to help afford it. But they'll almost always run, I'm not gonna say poorly, but not well. There's always some issue that comes up with cons because a lot of times most of the people who work at the cons are volunteers. And the volunteers because they want to subsidize their badge. But so you get a lot of people who don't know what they're doing or doesn't know all the information, but they have to play the staff position of knowing the information.
Yeah.
So it sometimes it becomes difficult to, as someone who's going to the con, getting the right information out of people.
Cool thing is that you see the same people every year. So you see the same staff like every year, and then you remember that guy.
That guy's cool.
That guy's cool, and that guy sucks.
That applies to us for Fanime, not Fanime, it's like anime. Because Fanime has way too many people for us to like actually remember people.
I remember some of them sometimes, but you know,
yeah,
it's only for the autograph line.
Yeah, for me, like Zack Anime, like some of the people who run the autograph lines, there are two types of people. The people who are like kind of assholes, who just
they take their job way too seriously.
They either take themselves way too seriously or think they're more important than they actually are, right? And then there are the chill people that like, what do you mean? Just let them through.
Yeah.
Like that one time, that guy who was just very confused on why they wouldn't let more people in the lines, even though like there was no one in there. So he was just like, why are all these people out here? Why we have plenty of room? They're like, oh, but we cut it off. Like, no. We have plenty of room. Let them in.
Yeah.
So it was there are times where you get these people who are either taking jobs too seriously, and it becomes detrimental towards like the actual con experience themselves. And there's the people who like actually understands what to do and what the people want and what's acceptable to get away with.
In that specific instance, when you're talking about the guy that let us in, right? There was these two people, because we had been waiting in this long line, because for that line specifically, they had people wait outside and then get back in the same line. And this line went on forever.
Yeah, and the main problem with how they did autographs that year was it was that long line, and that line led to other lines.
Yeah, but you still had to wait in the same line.
Yeah. Which
they still do, but
it's more well run now.
Yeah, it's better this year.
But the problem with how it was run that year is it was just one big line, and they don't filter anybody in that one big line.
It was also really hot.
It was also really hot, and like it all leads to is just a bunch of other lines, but no one knows until you reach the other lines who you're actually there for. So you can be there for like, oh, I want to be there for Charles Martinet. But like it just so happens that like Damon Clark's also signing there, right? And or like Troy Baker's also signing there,
or like Jim Cummings,
Jim Cummings is also signing there. But you only want Charles Martinet. But because of that one big line, they can't differentiate like who is actually there for what.
Yeah.
So the issue with that line is I forgot who took up most of the autographs, but we were there for someone. But because one of the people who was doing autographs during that time was super popular, they had to cap off the line early, basically. So you had these bunch of people in line who are waiting to meet like probably other people, but they can't meet them because that one person's super popular and they had to cap that line.
Yeah.
And because this one guy was taking his job too seriously, he was like, oh, we can't let you in because that Pacific line is capped. So it was like, but we want the other people. And he's like, no, can't let you in.
I remember, so JustACoupleQnA started using fast passes, which are basically like, you pay your way to get an autograph. It's pay to get an autograph.
It's the same fast pass system as Disney.
Yeah.
In Disneyland, same system.
I mean, Disneyland has like a different thing now, so.
Yeah, it has but like back in the day when it was like, oh, I want to buy my way to cut in line.
But it's like old Disney fast passes where you pay for a single ride.
Yeah.
This is like the same thing where you pay for a single autograph. So there was like a couple in front of us. And they were like, well, we got to have that autograph, right?
Yeah.
And so they paid. They were going to pay those $20 to get in. So they got in. And then the guy came out and he was like, what are all these people doing standing here? Or I think they left.
Yeah, they should have left because the fast pass wasn't being sold there.
Oh, yeah. So they left and then the line was let in.
Yeah.
So those people stood in line for nothing.
Yep. So every once in a while you get these hiccups that's like very annoying.
It's just like, I just felt so bad for them. But because we were persistent, like we always are.
Because we were assholes.
Yeah. We stood in line and refused to leave. So, because we thought it was just ridiculous. Like, why?
Like, why did you not let us in? Because that Pacific line is capped off.
Yeah.
We want to see the other people.
And then there was people, because it was in the same area as Dealers Hall that year, people just cut in line anyway.
People, like, it was run so poorly that year. Like, I don't know why you did it this way.
Yeah.
But yeah, every once in a while you get an incident. Cons almost never go smoothly. Almost never go smoothly in general. Like, you either get like, oh, something was run poorly, or like a couple years at Fanime, sexual harassment, or you get like someone who's like start a fight or whatever. Because if you're gonna have like 20,000 people in one area, like something's gonna happen.
What was your worst con experience? I feel like it'll be the same as mine though.
Con experience? I don't know. Probably that one year where I missed every single one of my panels.
Which one was that?
It was a year that I had to basically drive everyone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. That sucked.
Yeah. You have to continuously pick people up. The people was coming in on Friday and people coming on Saturday. So because most of the important panels are on those days, I just missed all my panels.
Yeah.
So that was probably my worst year. I don't know what your worst year is.
Well, not worst year, but worst experience.
Worst experience.
But I think the worst one for me is the one that I'll always remember. Is us waiting like over 8 hours.
For the Fanime one?
For our badges because there was a blackout.
Yeah, that can also happen. That only happened to us once, but a blackout could fuck up everything.
God, that was the worst.
We waited like 8 hours, and people bought pizza, which was nice.
We didn't get any pizza.
We bought our own pizza.
We did?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I remember Maurice came by and brought pizza for everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know if he bought it. I'm pretty sure like we all chipped in for pizza or something like that. But yeah, like it was cool because you do get the sense of community that like everyone hates the specific situation, so they learn to adapt to it. But it also sucks because we were waiting 8 hours to get our badges.
Yeah, it wasn't even that we were like in the con waiting for, it was waiting on day 0.
Yeah.
To get our badge, and everyone is sitting there and they're waiting in line, and it's just horrible. And everybody complains, like one year when people had to wait 4 hours for their badge. I was like, that's nothing.
We had to wait 8.
I'm like, until you have to wait 8 hours for a badge, your experience is nothing. Let me tell you. Okay? Until you have to like wait in a line for autographs for like 10 hours that whole day, get back in line, get another autograph, get back in another line. You don't even know what waiting is. Like, I remember when we were first going, we brought snacks because we knew that the lines were going to be really bad. And so you'd be waiting maybe 2 or 3 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours and 2 to 3 if you were lucky, right?
Yeah.
But
So
4
we would
hours
bring
like
snacks
minimum.
just to like stay in line, or bring like games. Mm-hmm. Because it was those years were run very poorly. It's a lot better now.
Yeah.
It's way better now. I hope they never change the system. It's so annoying when you have to wait so long just to get into a con. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like imagine like waiting like 5 hours to get a ticket into Disney World. Like, why would you even bother going?
Yeah, but it's kind of like that's probably the worst experience that I ever had. It was waiting so long, so long, and like it was like somebody was telling me about their con experience and how, remember that one year when they had it in the Fairmont, and I didn't wait in that one, you waited in that one, and they were like, it was awful. That one was pretty bad, right? It was like,
It was decently bad.
it was like 4, 5. I just remember the line went like all around the block or something.
Yeah, it went into the hotel, outside of the hotel, and then zigzagged in this plaza area.
Yeah, and it went like in the hotel. It went like in a weird way.
Yeah. So that was pretty bad, but that wasn't as bad the blackout year.
Yeah, that one is so bad.
Yeah.
Like I just can't feel bad for anybody that's like, God, we had to wait forever. I'm like, you don't even know what waiting is, except for that one video that somebody took of the line for AX last year.
Mm-hmm. That's not okay. So the main reason, because I said this earlier, the main reason I don't really care for Comic-Con and Anime Expo anymore. There was one point where I really wanted to go because it sounded really cool and it had lots of like industry stuff, which is stuff I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. But it's also becoming way too big for what it is. Anime Expo has become way too huge for that stadium, where the Anaheim Convention Center or whatever, right? It's become way too big for it. The lines are going like around the block towards like the streets and everything like that. It's becoming way too long, and there's way too many people for that con. There's almost no reason why that con should be that big. Like, I understand it's super popular. I understand like it has lots of cool stuff there. It's a very industry focused con, so they have lots of like
concerts.
They have concerts. There's very special stuff there that you can't get on other cons. But the amount of people that's there, it kind of hampers the actual experience.
Yeah,
itself.
because it's hard to even walk anywhere.
Yep. Because we have friends that go to Anime Expo, and like some of your coworkers, they're like, I don't even know I want to go next year, right?
They're not going to go because they're going to go on a trip to Japan, but they're not going to go because, I mean, they would go if they could, but it is really crowded, but they still love it, you know? I've been thinking of, like, not going to AX, but just going to Crunchyroll Expo, because, like, Crunchyroll Expo has a lot of good guests, and
it is also an industry-focused con, so it doesn't have as much industry stuff as Anime Expo, but it has it.
But it's got free swag.
Yep.
And that's the most important part.
Yeah. At Comic-Con, I'll be more convinced to go to because it runs differently than other conventions. It has a lottery system instead of just buy your ticket, get in.
Yeah, and you can make your money back.
Yeah, you can actually make your money back. That's the one nice thing about going to cons if you're intending to use it for work. Is that if it's very industry focused, it's very easy to get your money back.
Yeah, we have a friend who does that, or used to do it, but he told us that he doesn't do it anymore. Just because he's like, I can't enjoy the con. Yeah. It's just work, and I'm just going to work. Which is kind of like how SAC Anime is for us sometimes. Yeah.
I don't know. But for like for Comic-Con, there was that one year where Wizards of the Coast, the people who make Magic the Gathering, the card game, they were doing these special promos for Planeswalkers. And that's back when Planeswalkers were like first introduced. And those promos go for like $200 each now. And there's like 5 of them. So like, and they're very easy to get the con, but now they're like super expensive. Yeah. So it's very easy to make your money back depending on like if you know where to go. If you are interested in cons, I very much recommend it. Especially if it's the con that you're interested in. Like, it's very easy to find anime conventions around most areas. Right? Because it's a very niche thing, but because it's a very niche thing, you have these very dedicated people. And they're very fine just running cons, right? So even if it's just a small con, I suggest it because you can meet some very interesting people there.
Yes.
If it's your first con.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because...
we went to some small cons, it was kind of miserable. But
yeah,
if it's your first con, I suggest going just to check it out. Because you can meet some interesting people. There's some experiences that you can't get anywhere else.
You can do some networking.
Yeah. So it's very cool. If you're an artist, like great place to, start out. But
yeah, it depends on the con.
But it's interesting to go to like certain cons.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's a small con, I suggest it. If it's a college con, a little bit less so, but maybe check it out. You can find cons almost anywhere. It's kind of hard to find like cons for like every hobby. Like anime is one that sticks out. Gen Con is stuff for like tabletop games, so that's a very easy thing to find. But like you don't often find cons for something like movies in general or whatever. So
yeah, you can just find stuff for video games and stuff like PAX.
Yeah, video games is also a very easy con to find. But yeah, there's some things that it's kind of hard to find cons for. Although sometimes like you don't need it. Like you don't need a sports con because you get that every year. So
or whenever you go to a baseball game or something, a football game.
Like you don't need like a sports con because you have the games. So it's whatever. Is there anything else you want to talk about cons?
Before we close out on the con subject, what was like one of your best memories from a con?
The concerts at Fanime.
Oh, yeah. Those are really good.
I really enjoy going to the concerts at Fanime. Because, okay, so those who don't know, like the concerts at Fanime is one of my main reasons why I go these times around. Is because they usually get bands and like artists from Japan. So it's impossible to get that around here sometimes. Like it's very rare to get bands from Japan to have like a US tour. And even then their tickets are like, they can range from being like, oh, that's affordable to like, that's stupid expensive, depending how big they are. But the concept of anime is very much enjoyable because it's free. So it's easy to get in, but it's also like fun to have like everyone there. Right. And usually the music's good enough that you can get into it no matter what. Like I was telling my friend Xantham, he was talking about how like has there ever been a concert that you did not have fun at, right? And my answer hasn't changed, where like usually for the main acts, because sometimes they have opening acts, for the main acts the concerts are as fun as the energy you put into it. If you put no energy or you're not interested in the concert, then of course it's not gonna be fun with you. It's not your thing. But even if it's something like mediocre, if you get yourself excited for it or you like put enough energy to it, it becomes fun. So for instance, at one time, I forgot what the group name was. It was that one boy band group with the voice actor in it.
Oh, yeah, with Yuya.
Yeah.
He did the Trust Me song.
Yeah.
From Durara.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
So so he had his own boy band, and I'm not super interested in his music, but that concert was very fun because I wasn't very interested in his music. I decided to have some fun myself, which was just get very hyped for any random person and just act like I'm a fan. And it's just fun cheering and like getting into stuff in general. Because if you like get into it, they usually give that same amount of energy back, which is very nice for the performances they give at Fanime.
His name is Yuya Matsushita.
Yeah, but yeah, that's my like favorite experiences for a con. I think like my most favorite concert, probably Rookies, or Homei Kazoku.
Homei Kazoku was probably one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, Homei Kazoku is a very fun one. For those who don't know Homei Kazoku, they did a couple of the openings for Naruto and one ending, I believe. Or was it just one opening, one ending?
I don't remember. I know they did the Hoshinagare or whatever.
Yeah. They're a duo rap group, basically. And they're Japanese, so they rap in Japanese. But that concert was so fun because like they'll do some of their songs. There was one point where they're just like freestyling to each other. There was one point where they're getting the crowd into it. And then every year they have an encore. So when they did the encore and they did the actual opening or like an ending for one of the Naruto songs, they both jumped off the stage and ran through the crowd while I was singing, and like the security was chasing after them because they were not supposed to do that. That was a fun concert. So what about you?
I think this concert was pretty fun. I liked it. I really liked the Yuya one. and X4.
You do?
That one was really good. Although I think that's second to Rookies. I mean, to
Homie Kazuki?
Homie Kazuku. Homie Kazuku was really good. And made me feel like good at the end too. Because he was like, we're all like family.
Yeah. For those who don't know, Kazuku is family in Japanese. So the reason why the band's called Homie Kazuku is because they both treat each other as brothers. So it's like a homemade family. So when they have a concert, the fans are the family. So it's like a homemade family with all the fans.
So good.
Yeah. So when they were leaving, like, we are all Kazuku or something like that. So that was a very nice experience.
Yeah. And they're all like, we'll see you again. And I'm like, please come back.
Yeah. That was a very fun one.
Please come back. Flo performed there a couple times, but we never got to see him.
Yeah, because those are the year where we weren't super interested in the concerts because we were busy doing other con stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a shame we missed Flo, but it's fine.
I know. We missed him twice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really wish they, the Beat Garden, they were super good this year. I really appreciated it.
That's a cool song.
And I liked them a lot. But I really wish that Fanime would work a little harder to get bigger name
anime bands.
Bands that did more anime related things.
Yeah. What my wish for the bands for Fanime is, of course, Overworld. For those who know me, I'm a huge fan of Overworld.
Get Animens or something to perform.
Animens would be a cool one as like an opening act. That would be a very cool one. But Overworld is my most anticipated one if they ever announce it. But second to that will probably either be Man on a Mission. That'd be cool.
That would be sick.
And Linked Horizon. That would be a rocking concert.
That would be really sick.
Yeah.
I think Man on a Mission is a good one, though.
Yeah.
Man on a Mission's a good one, and those three are really good. Those are good choices.
There's a couple other ones, like Jam Project would be a solid one, too. But, recently for the concerts, they haven't been getting, like, big name anime opening people. Like, for instance, Beat Garden, like, they were very cool. I was very surprised with their music because we couldn't listen to a lot of their music. A lot of their music, they only have 2 songs on YouTube, so it's very hard to find any of their music. But when we actually went to the concert, their music's really good, actually.
Yeah.
So...
And all the members are really great.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy to them, so it's very easy to get into them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, they all have that good level of dorkiness. So it was very fun on that concert. But the problem with having them, though, again, I very much appreciated them coming. They were great. But they only did one anime opening.
Yeah, and not even like a really popular one.
Rachel Bahama is a very cult classic to a lot of people. I don't want to say classic. It was very niche. It was popular in certain circles, but it wasn't like huge like some other people. Like Overworld would be huge. Link's Rise would be huge. Man on a Mission, Jam Project. Who did opening to Kung Fu Generation?
Asian Kung Fu Generation.
Asian Kung Fu Generation will be huge if they bring them over.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That would be insane. Although it was already insane that Flo even came.
Yeah, Flo was probably the biggest one. Like Flo, Homie Kazuku, and Rookies.
Dude, I would see Flo again. I would want to see Flo.
I would want to see Flo. I would see Rookies easily. They were probably the best J-Rock band they brought. And like Homie Kazuku they're just hype. They're great. But it's very hard to get hyped sometimes for the guests they bring over, because they aren't anime particular bands, and that's kind of what we want.
Yeah, they're just like, they might have done a song.
And it just the people from Japan that happen to do an anime song.
Yeah,
which is you could say that for some other artists, but they've done like very popular anime songs. Is different. Like Overworld is just a J-rock band who happened to do anime songs, but they did a lot of popular anime songs. Same with Flo, same with Homie Kazuku, same with Rookies. Another really good one, Radio
Flyers.
Yeah,
whatever.
The band who did Flyers from Death Parade, that would be a great one too.
Yeah, even if they just did that one song.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah,
but but it's hard to be like, oh, Beat Garden, the person who did that one opening for that one anime.
And you're like, nah.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's kind of like if you're going to like let's say you're going to Disneyland, right?
Mhm.
And it so happened like, oh, we're gonna get a special concert that's free and everyone can go join, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and the person who's doing the concert is like, oh no, Pitbull, because
Or like Hillary Duff or something.
yeah, like Hillary Duff, because they happen to do like a Disney song.
Yeah, they did, you know, Lizzie McGuire,
Yeah,
like forever ago.
yeah.
And she had like 2 songs.
Yeah, and it kind of does, because you know they can get better bands, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can get for Disney in particular, like they can get like easily like a group of like an orchestra just to play Disney music, but they don't.
I don't really know what they focus on. Like, I don't really know what the funds go to.
For anime,
Like, yeah.
I don't know either. I think it mostly goes towards booking the people. So just booking people and then getting, well, of course, getting the convention center and then getting the stuff. So, for instance, the gaming hall, getting that all set up, getting the people sponsors and stuff like that, paying for the employees.
Yeah.
So I think that's where most of the money goes to, and I think the rest of it is just profit. I'm not gonna say like, oh, they're only in it for profit. That's not true. If they were only in it for profit, they could easily scam people, right? Fanime is still a $65 con at the best, and at the worst, an $85 con. They're not a $100 con, and they can easily get away with that. I can see them getting away with that. We won't pay for it anymore.
Well, they
But-
also have to do like hotel accommodations
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Like they don't have to do the hotel accommodations. They don't have to do that, but they do it. Like if they jump the price to $100, we won't go anymore. But I can easily see other people going still, easily. So I'm not saying they're like greedy, but I am saying that sometimes I feel like not all the money is going to the right places.
Yeah. Like, I feel like I always have hope that next year's guest will be kind of like Rookies or like Flow or something like that, you know? Something.
We're just like, we just need that one person to get us super hype.
Yeah.
Right. This year, even though I didn't get to meet her, I think was Aya Hirano.
Yeah.
That was the big name, like, oh shit moment for Fanime, right? Because those who don't know Aya Hirano is a very, very popular voice actor from Japan, and she voices a lot of very popular characters in anime that were popular in the Western side. Haruhi, Konota. Those 2 girls are very classic anime characters. And even recently, the most recent character is Lucy. But here's the thing, Lucy from Fairy Tail. I say that's her most like recent popular character, but Fairy Tail is fairly old. And that's because at one point she got blacklisted, which is very unfortunate.
I really wish that Aya Hirano would have sang just one song.
I don't know if she can anymore.
I don't think she could, but
Yeah.
but I really wanted her to just sing God Knows.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been awesome. Or Monstar. Okay? That's a great song.
Yeah. So for those who don't know the Aya Hirano drama, and like it's not important anymore. So when I say this, it's only just so you know why she got blacklisted. It's because she's a major voice actor, but at the time she was also an idol. And what ended up happening is she ended up in this like sex scandal where it wasn't even that much a sex scandal. It was like her boyfriend at the time took a picture of her when she was sleeping, and you could clearly tell she's topless. You don't see anything, but you see that she's topless, and it's very much implied like, oh, they just had sex, right? And those pictures got leaked to the press. And the reason why that's such a major issue in Japan is because idols in Japan are presented as like these very, not necessarily innocent, but pure girls, right? If that picture came out for any celebrity in the US, no one would give a shit. Literally, no one will give a shit. Because Japan has their own certain culture and has like, oh, the girls are for the people, right? She got a lot of hate and drama off that. and she got blacklisted, so she stopped getting anime roles. She stopped being an idol. Her career kind of didn't necessarily go down the drain, but she wasn't getting more new jobs. So it kind of sucked for her, right? The culture, that culture annoys me a lot sometimes. The idol culture in Japan, and maybe one day I'll get more into it. But it it's very unfortunate what happened to her because she definitely deserves more.
It kind of makes like women disposable. Kind of teaches like that, you know, once you're of a certain age, that you're no good anymore and you can't be an idol.
Yeah.
So
because that's what happens often in Japan. The idol industry in Japan is like once you turn 18, you're done. You better get into acting or you're done.
Or you better get into AVs.
Yeah, you can get into porn too. That's very rare actually, for idols to go into porn. That's super rare because that just means you're just gonna kill off your job.
Yeah.
Right. Because you still have opportunities to do other stuff. Even if it's like not acting anymore and media stuff, you still have a name that you can still like do other things. Like for instance, there was this one idol. I don't remember her name, but after she got caught up with something and had to be kicked out of the group because she was dating someone. And for those who don't know, dating while being an idol in Japan, big no. You can't do that. Not at all. But because she got caught dating someone, she got kicked out. But what she ended up doing is she opened a udon shop, and she's fine doing that. So
That's cool.
yeah, so that's why you rarely see like these girls go into porn or go into like anything more scandalous. Is because they still have a name to do other stuff. So like I'm not saying like being idol is bad. It kind of isn't. You get the name recognition that you need, but the way they treat their idols are kind of bad. It's kind of bad.
Right.
Anything else you want to bring up? You kind of drifted from conventions.
No, I think that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about like conventions,
Actually, I want to get more interaction and comments. I know our friends are listening to this, obviously, but of course this goes out to anybody. But I definitely know our friends are listening to this. Tell us about your convention experiences. Like, what's the best part about going to conventions for you?
what's the best? What's the worst?
What's the worst part about going to convention? And what's the best part about going to conventions? Like in general, you can also talk about your like a specific experience, but I want to hear it in general thing.
Yeah, we'd love to hear if for those who have gone to conventions, what you really enjoy about conventions. It doesn't have to be an anime convention.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like a video game. It doesn't have to be that kind of stuff. It can be like anything.
Yeah.
What was it that you enjoyed?
Yeah.
You
So, like definitely like leave a comment because I want to hear your experiences. And for those who are who haven't been to a convention before and want to go, leave a comment there. If you have any concerns, we will respond to it because I feel like we've been to enough conventions that we can at least answer in broad spectrum any concerns that you have.
Yeah, I feel
Because we've been to enough conventions, we know people who gone to big conventions, we know people who go to small conventions.
Yeah.
It's very easy to talk about conventions after a while.
and for us, for Fanime specifically, we are veterans at that convention.
Yeah.
We know like the ins and outs pretty much.
Now we know the ins and outs.
That and SAC anime.
Yeah. Those two conventions, like we know everything now.
Yeah. So
We even know some of the people who work there.
yeah.
Yeah. For those who are like have concerns or want to go to convention because you have so and so reason.
Yeah.
Tell
Or
us.
just want to know what it's kind of like.
Yeah, if you want to know what it's like to go to convention, like I know like we kind of talked about it here, but I'm pretty sure we didn't go over everything.
Yeah.
So if there's something you want to talk about at conventions, like leave a comment, email us. We're on iTunes now, so I can't really leave a comment there, but email us there. We have our email, so.
One thing I'll say about like conventions for us is that for SAC anime specifically, it's all autographs. So when we're doing that one, I feel like when you go to a convention, you learn patience. That's like one thing that you really learn from going to a convention. It's like waiting in line for something. Whatever. It's like when you go out and wait in a line anywhere. You're like, well, at least I don't have to stand out here for 4 hours.
Yeah.
You know, it's like when we were waiting in line for food or something. It's gonna be a 40-minute wait.
Yeah.
Whatever. Waited longer.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Is that enough convention talk?
I think people have heard enough.
Yeah. So,
Was there anything that you wanted to talk about?
a little bit. I feel like this might be short. I don't know how much you have to say about it. I might not have a lot to say about it.
Okay.
But this year is going to be a very interesting year for a lot of geek culture things. Because this is the year that Star Wars is and the episode 9 is coming out. Game of Thrones just finished, right? Lots of like big popular shows are like done, right? And every once in a while you get like these big like significant milestones in media.
Avengers ended.
Yeah,
too.
like Endgame just is done. So this year is very significant for all that stuff. And I want to hear your opinion or your thoughts on like, what do you think about like these big milestones and like these nerd and geek culture that is like, it's gonna be done now, right? I'm not gonna say that. So for instance, like for me, Avengers, like even though I know there's more Marvel movies coming out, Endgame was the end for me, right? So for me, it was like something like this is the end for. This is the book closing, right? So I know there's more, and so but I don't care about that. This is the end of the book for me. I don't care about volume 2. This is the end of the story. For a lot of people, Game of Thrones, it was this disappointing mess, right? And Star Wars can go up either way. It can either be a disappointing mess or be like, oh, that's actually pretty good, right? But for something me personally that I really enjoyed, Breaking Bad, the TV show, was a significant thing to me because I was a pretty big fan of Breaking Bad. I really liked the show. I wasn't like an outward like everyone should watch it yada yada, but I thought it was probably one of the best TV shows I've ever seen. And when it ended, it was like that is something that I will remember for the rest of my life, right? And I sort of feel that way about Avengers Endgame, right? And I feel like less people would think about that for Game of Thrones. But what do you think about like these big milestones, like coming to an end, right? Something that like you grew up with or like you watched to the beginning and end, right? What do you think about that?
Specifically for the Star Wars and the Game of Thrones and whatever, I don't really care because those didn't really mean anything to me. Like I didn't really grow up with Star Wars and I never really was attached. But there's two, to me, when they ended, I was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
You know, and that was Harry Potter.
Oh,
I read
yeah,
the books.
that's a big one.
And I read the books and it was over. I was like, oh man, it's over. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Or when the last Airbender ended.
Yeah, that was.
And then you're just like,
it's done.
You're like, whoa, it's over. Aang didn't get who I didn't want Aang and Katara to be together.
I didn't either, but it's fine. Like The Last Airbender, and I will still say this to this day, is the best American cartoon in television history. I love that show. I feel like that's a show for any ages. So if anybody's listening to this, and has not watched The Last Airbender, watch it. I don't care how old you are. I don't care how young you are. Watch it.
The Last Airbender is pretty good. I mean, the later half, it kind of gets a little hard to watch because it's kind of boring.
Well, it's not easy to marathon. I'll tell you that. It's not easy to marathon because there's still stuff happening. I won't say it's boring, but it's not exciting to watch.
I mean, just remember watching it week by week and like nothing is happening.
Yeah, you watch it week by week, it's like, oh, we're still talking about spirit stuff. I see.
Yeah, we're still in the Fire Kingdom and we're a Fire Nation, and we're just like, Aang has hair now.
Yeah, we're still
Like,
we're still talking about this stuff. I see all this, but like the first, like at least watch the first season.
It's very good.
It is very good. And you watch the first season, and like it's not my thing. Fair.
The characters are all pretty likable too.
Yeah.
I mean, you really get to like grow with these characters. So when it ends, you're just like, oh man, that
very much is like the end.
Yeah, that's the end. It's over. And then
And then Korra came out.
Korra came out, and you're like, oh, I guess it's not the end. Oh, okay.
On a similar but different note, I felt that way when Gravity Falls ended.
Yeah. Or when Shaolin Showdown ended.
I didn't feel that way.
Oh, really?
No.
I was sad when Shaolin Showdown ended. But then I was also mad that, like, Omi didn't become the Dragon Warrior.
Yeah, Raimundo did.
Raimundo did, and I'm like, why?
When Gravity Falls ended, it very much felt like, oh, that's the end? And fuck, there should have been more. There should have been way more.
Yeah.
But
it was such a good show.
It was a very good show. Oh, also this year, a little bit less significant, because I don't know how many people are still interested in it, My Little Pony ended.
Yeah.
MLP Friendship is Magic ended. And, like, I watched a little bit of My Little Pony, right? I remember back when we were in high school, like, everyone hated it.
MLP FIM. Come on, get it right. We're not talking about the old MLP. We're talking about MLP. Friendship is Magic.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I high school, everyone hated it, right? But, like, I didn't hate it. I just never watched it. But when I finally got around to watching it, I realized, like, oh, it actually is a good show.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But this year it ended. And most people, it ended around, like, when did she leave? What's her name again?
Lauren Faust.
Yeah, Lauren Faust. For most people, I think MLP ended when Laura Faust left. But, like, this year, it officially ended. It's done. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, even though that community is, like, kind of gone and, like, there's not that many people left, it was a significant show for a lot of people. So, this year, it's done.
A lot of people met their friends through MLP.
Yeah.
So
lots of communities started at MLP. Lots of, like, very popular people on YouTube started out as, like, an MLP
Are you talking about Saber Spark?
Well, the Saber Spark is Yubi Brony, who is now, I think his name is Odyssey.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Digibro.
Digibro is also one. Yes. What else is there? Living Tombstone.
Yeah.
Like, he was also part of the European community too. Like, all these people, they, like, love it or hate them, they came from the brownie community and they made something out of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of significant. Like, the show just ended, right? It's done. So even though no one's talking about it anymore, like, that is a significant show for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in terms of a game thing, I know a lot of people feel this way for this series. When Metal Gear 5 ended, right? Or was it 4? When Metal Gear 4 ended, that was a significant game for a lot of people. Because I feel like Metal Gear 4 is where Metal Gear ended for a lot of people. Because that was, like, the last fight between Solid Snake and Liquid Snake. And, like, that was the end of, like, their story. I know, like, 5 came out and there's, like, the Phantom Pain and whatever. But the main crux of the Metal Gear story ended at 4. And people grew up with that game. Like, it spanned console generations. That's a story that, like, oh, that's the end of Solid Snake, Big Boss, whatever the story. That's interesting. Like, this year, Kingdom Hearts 3 came out. And that was a significant thing that ended.
I mean,
it's not really done, but, like, the main point of the story is done. It's one of those things, like, it's interesting growing up or, like, watching a story develop beginning to end, or a series develop beginning to end.
It's just kind of sad.
It's a mixture between, like, sad and, like, oh, that was, depending on how it is,
Yeah.
like, that was great.
Or that was horrible.
Yeah, depending how it is. When I was a kid, I never thought the shows I was watching would ever end. I remember thinking, like, oh, Pokemon would never end, and it still technically doesn't, but, or to be more relevant, when I was a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons, I remember feeling very weird when Cubix ended.
Oh.
Yeah, the Fox box show, Cubix. I remember feeling very weird when that ended, because that was one of the first shows that, like, oh, it's done. Because I grew up watching like, oh, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, right? These shows never end. They're going on forever. Shaolin Showdown was going on forever, right?
Yeah.
But like Cubics, it was like, oh, we started and now we're done. This is the last episode, guys. We're done. So, and like I grew up with like these long running animes that I still haven't seen the end of. Still, I still haven't seen the end of Shaman King, even though I know what the end is. I grew up watching Shaman King, and I don't know what the end of. I haven't seen the end of it. But as a kid, I never thought the shows I watched would end. SpongeBob SquarePants is still not done, and like, but when I watch shows, well, when I saw like, oh, Cubics is done at a very young age, I was like, oh, I guess I'm never watching that show again, right?
Yeah.
So, or like, and sometimes like they don't even end like properly, right? So it still didn't feel that way. I remember watching the last episode of Megas XLR, and it didn't feel like the last episode.
Oh, that's because it was canceled.
It's because it was canceled, yeah. So, but I remember loving that show, and then like it just ended, and I was like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode, even though it was the last episode. I can't wait for the next episode.
Oh, I think I remember watching the end of the original Yu-Gi-Oh, and it was like
With Atem,
yeah,
and Yugi doing each other.
yeah, that was a really good ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why it's so good.
That was a really like poetic way to end it though.
Yeah,
Because the idea was like you have to defeat Yami Yugi or Atem in order to send him back to where he's supposed to be.
yeah,
And so Yugi has to decide like who's gonna duel him, right? And then he was like, Kaiba was like, I want to do it.
yeah,
I want to do it. I want to beat the King of Games. But then Yugi decides like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm gonna send him back.
yeah.
Like I've been with him forever. I'm gonna send him back. Right. And it was very cool watching by like anime logic, of course. Anime card game logic, watching him be able to beat Yami Yugi, the person who carried him throughout the entire show.
Yeah, because everybody was like, "Oh, well, you're not doing any of the work.
Yeah.
It's just
It's just Yami Yugi. It's just him."
Yeah.
But no, like at the end, it was like Yugi shows that he can stand up by himself, and that was a very cool way to end the show.
I mean, honestly, he solved the millennial puzzle by himself.
By himself, but like he doesn't never shows that like he's competent by himself.
Yeah.
Right? Not until the very end, and that was a very cool way to end the show.
Yeah. Because Yugi is always like depicted as like this nerdy, like
weak character,
weak guy, always carried by his friends. He's just kind of in the background most of the time until like Yami Yugi or like Atem shows up and like kind of duels for him. So,
but when he finally shows like he stand up on his own, it very much completes Yugi's character arc.
Yeah. And it kind of shows like Atem that it's time for him to go.
Yeah. It's okay that he can leave him alone. It was easily the best way to end that show. Like,
but yeah, even though you kind of knew that Yugi was gonna win, right? It was still kind of like, man, I don't know how he's gonna win.
Yeah,
yeah, like considering like Yugi's deck and then
Yami's deck has the Egyptian gods.
Yeah,
that they can bring out for no reason sometimes.
And then Yugi has like Silent Magician, and
he didn't even beat him with Silent Magician. He beat him with gears. The red gear, yellow gadgets.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
He didn't beat him with the
magicians?
The dragon that blows itself up.
Let me make sure.
I don't remember how he won.
We were both right. He used both gadgets and Silent Magician.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very cool to watch him like have this weird ragtag like deck, and it would beat the Egyptian gods and these cards we grew up with, right?
It was
Dark
a deck
Magician.
that he had made himself, right?
Yeah, it was a deck that he made himself by himself. And like he was able to beat the cards that we know and love, like Dark Magician Girl, the God Dragon, the Queen, King Knight, Queen Knight, and Jack Knight.
And it was a very, very much like a Yugi deck.
Yeah.
Like you could tell and you could feel that it was very Yugi and not like Atem.
Yeah.
Because they're different personalities. I mean, they're different people.
The Yugi was all about like having these small cards grow up into,
Yeah.
being powerful forces, while the 10 was about having like having like very strong cards and using them strategically.
Mm-hmm.
And Kai was all about just beating them down with high numbers.
With big dragons.
Yeah.
And clowns.
that big dragon energy. But yeah, like it's kind of weird to talk about that about like Yu-Gi-Oh, but it's very cool, right? That's kind of like what I mean when I talk about like I very much appreciate cartoon shows and like kid shows. Is that you can do like very cool things with them that very symbolizes like where they come from, like that entire thing with Yami and Yugi and having their decks symbolize who they are. That's something you can only do in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
And that's also something you can only do in like a kid show. If you do that in like a very serious show, no one's gonna take that seriously.
Yeah.
It's too on the nose. But having that in a kid show, it very much symbolizes where they're coming from, and that's very cool.
Yeah. I love Yu-Gi-Oh. The original. I haven't really watched 5Ds or Zexal or
GX.
GX, really.
And there's some cool moments in each of them. I think 5Ds is one of the better ones. Bring it back though. Like, I think it's very cool now that we're older that we're able to see like the full journey for a lot of these shows. I don't get that anymore for anime because anime is in this very season format now. You almost never grow up with a show to see it all with completion.
Yeah.
Now it's just like, oh, here's season 1. Here's a season 2 maybe. Now continue the rest on your own.
I mean, that's probably how people felt for like Adventure Time when Adventure Time ended.
Oh yeah.
That was a really big one. I mean, that ended last year?
Yeah.
Last year, and that was really big for everybody. And I think the way it ended, it's good.
It was very apt for a show.
Yeah. Steven Universe
still hasn't ended.
Still hasn't ended, but
it felt like it
ended.
Yeah.
Things just kind of happened, and then the ending, and then they're like, oh, it's not ended.
Yeah, we're still not done for some reason.
Yeah, even though it feels like it's over. So
I feel like even we will see the end of Steven Universe though. Like we're not gonna like not see the end of it. There's lots of like things where lots of shows now that we're older that it's very cool that we get to see the beginning and end to it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if we were born like 10 years later,
yeah,
I feel like going through that Marvel journey wouldn't feel as significant.
I mean a lot of manga ended too. You know, like when Naruto ended.
Naruto, Bleach.
7 Deadly Sins, kind of.
Not yet. Still not done. 7 Deadly Sins is still not done.
Fairy Tail.
Fairy Tail ended. I don't like. Yeah. I can have a whole podcast about how much I hate Fairy Tail, but I'm good. Seen a lot of these things from beginning to end, and it feels, I guess, bittersweet is like the most accurate way I can put it. Because it's very much like, oh, that was a good journey. And now it's done.
Yeah.
Now I have to find something to replace it.
Yeah.
I think recently, the only thing that made me feel that way in a short amount of time was like Violet Evergarden. Where like I watched the beginning and I watched her character arc go through this full spectrum to the end. And I was like, oh, we're done now. Right? I know there might be a little bit more. I feel like there's a movie coming out, I think. And I don't think season 2 has been greenlit. I hope we never get it, honestly. But I know there's a little bit more, but that journey was like a very complete thing for me. And it was like, oh, we're done. We're good. I don't know. It is very much a different feeling that you get from like, for instance, when I watch Baccano. Like, I love that show. I love that show to pieces. But when it ended, it didn't feel like, oh, we're done now. It's like, oh, there's so much more. I don't really like novels, so I'm not going to be able to finish it.
I felt like that when I read when I read books, when I finish a book. It's always very bittersweet to finish a book. It's always like, oh, I finished it. And that felt good, right? But then you're like, oh, man, I got to find another book. Well, what if I don't like it, you know?
Yeah. It is sometimes very hard to find a thing that will replace that feeling for you.
Yeah.
I know it took me forever to find that thing that would replace that feeling for Planet After Story. Like, to have that feeling happen again, that was a very hard thing to do. I think Arcada, who's an anime reviewer on YouTube, he talked about like the void, right? When you finish a very good show, you get this void, and it's very hard to replace it. I feel that way for a lot of things. I wouldn't necessarily call it a void, but it's something that's like, we're done, and like now I know that there won't be another. I can't experience that again.
I think it should be that way, though. I think things should have an ending.
That's why I feel like I don't want another season of Violet Evergarden. I know like where the rest of the stuff goes to. I personally don't really like it, but I feel like having a character arc go that full spectrum and just having it end there was a very nice thing to have.
Yeah.
That's why I don't want another season. I don't want a continuation. I don't want to have that feeling of there's so much more. I think for Violet Evergarden, I feel like I've seen what I needed to see, and I'm happy with it.
I feel like a lot of shows, I think they should leave you kind of like wanting more, but also satisfied. You're like, oh man, I wish there were more, but I'm okay if there isn't anything else. You know, opposite for Gravity Falls, because
that show definitely makes you feel like wanting more.
Yeah,
and somehow unsatisfied.
Yeah. Because I think it was getting canceled. So, like, they just kind of had to, like, rush the ending.
Yeah.
But it was a good show. When Over the Garden Wall was over, and I rewatched it, I'm like, man.
That's a different spectrum for me. That's a show where, like, I'm satisfied and I don't want to see any more.
Yeah, I don't want to see any more of that. Yeah. But when it ended, you're like, that was pretty good. But it wasn't like a long running thing, like, you know, like Naruto. When Naruto ended, and you're like, I don't want to see any more. Naruto was like, I don't want to see anything else from Naruto. And then Boruto came out, and you're like, oh no,
there's more. I don't know. It's a nice feeling to have when you finish stuff. Do you have anything else you want to say about it?
I don't think so.
I think we should leave that off there.
Leave you wanting more.
Here's another thing that you can leave in the comments, because I know conventions are very like specific things for a lot of people, but I feel like a lot of people had the experience of finishing stuff, and feeling wanting more and stuff like that. So people in the comments, leave the thing that very much made you feel like that.
Yeah.
And if I haven't seen it, I'll probably will watch it.
What made you feel like after you finished it, it was like a really, like, it was kind of like the same feeling, like a bittersweet feeling, or even if it made you angry.
Yeah. Like, anything. When you finish something, it made you feel any emotion. Like, it made you feel angry, made you feel satisfied, made you want more, right? For any of those, like, tell me what it was and what made you feel. Because I'm very interested in how, like, people react to a certain one of these shows, right? I know I'm gonna feel like super bittersweet when like My Hero ends, right?
Yeah.
When My Hero Academy ends, or Academia, when My Hero Academia ends, I'm gonna feel very bittersweet because I've been following that mangaka since the beginning. Well, since almost the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a very weird thing when that actually ends. So, anyways, for those of you out there, leave a comment, leave something.
Let us know.
Yeah, we need more recap.
Let us know you're alive.
Yeah. Let us know that we're still getting views.
I checked. We were, though. Checked our latest ones.
Yeah.
Pretty decent, you know?
I mean, coming from 0, I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're grateful for everyone who watches.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like I said, like, it doesn't matter if we get 0 people, 100 people, 1,000, 1,000,000, doesn't matter. I'm still going to be doing this. I don't care. I enjoy having these conversations with my lovely girlfriend, Sarah.
Wow, thank you.
We don't mention it often, so I feel like people forget, but yes, we are dating.
We are a couple.
Yes, we are a couple, hence the title of the podcast.
So, yeah, we don't talk about it too much now.
No.
Because there's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah. I feel like even though we've been together for like 7 years, there's not a lot that we could talk about.
I mean, if something comes up, then we can talk about it, but...
Maybe next time.
Or if you have any questions about us,
go ahead. I feel like we know each other so well, we don't know what to bring up. But if you have any questions for us, then we can easily talk about each other.
Yeah. Or Kevin can talk about me.
Well, with that said, thank you for listening to episode 12 of Just a Couple Thoughts.
Big one, too.
I very much appreciate you guys listening to us. And again, share this around. We're on iTunes. We're on Podbean. We're on YouTube. I will slowly but surely be updating this and uploading it to everywhere. So one of these days, I'll upload this. I'll update this on your favorite podcasting sites and Spotify and whatever. So keep an eye out.
Thanks for everyone who's listened. We really appreciate it.
And in fact, leave a comment for the next site I will update for, and I will do it.
Share it with your friends.
Yeah, because there's no point in me like uploading this if like no one else can watch it. I'll just leave it on YouTube, honestly. But anyways,
all right. Yeah, before we like keep going.
If you want to ask us any questions, you can leave a comment on your YouTube. Or if you're listening to this on iTunes or on a podcasting site, you can email us at JustACoupleQnA at gmail.com. Q&A is the letters. We will respond to everything and anything. I check the comments before every recording, so I will be sure to see it.
Maybe we should have a catchphrase.
No.
Catchphrase.
No.
Let's get jacked.
No. I'm not.
Let's get...
No. I'm vetoing that now. No.
It's like Mega Man.
Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Don't leave that in there.